This message goes to all the maggots, all these Trump supporters. Do you know who Stephen Miller is? I'm gonna tell you a little bit. Son of an immigrant, son of a Jewish immigrant. Yet he's racist, misogynist, classist. He's the one responsible for bankrolling everything Donald Trump is doing. In fact, the signal message, you remember those?
I'm a man of faith, Stephen, and I'm certainly not a man of fear. So let's just cut to the chase. Let's not get it twisted. Your administration, this administration, and the people who support it are making history on changing who we are as a multicultural society. Folks like Stephen Miller, Pete Hegseth, and Pam Bundy and others are showing us that they don't believe in the co-equal branches of government or the checks and balances within our society. And the people in the White House, in your little bubbles, you actually think that the aura of your chaos is sustainable.
So, Stephen Miller, you are the one that says you don't like black people in America? You want only white people in America? Meanwhile, you're a byproduct of immigration. The reality is, like it or not, African Americans are here to stay, baby. There's nothing you can do. You can wish for segregation to happen, and it's not gonna happen. Yeah, unless if you would like to take yourself back to Israel, that country where you came from, because that's where your grandparents came from. Black people are being brutal on the internet lately. They're clapping back, ladies and gentlemen. As you watch this video, let me know. How far do you think Stephen Miller is going to go when it comes to provoking black people? And what awaits him in front there? Should he go ask Elon Musk for some tips or not?
I'm pretty sure Stephen sleeps in a coffin lined with ICE detention center blankets. Miller is a haunted ventriloquist dummy that came to life just to think of ways to keep brown babies away from their mommies. Honestly, if Nosferatu and a DMV clerk on her period made a baby while watching Sweeney Todd, you'd get Stephen Miller. Except even Nosferatu's hair didn't come out of a can.
Think about it. I want you to think about it. I mean, Trump is 80 years old, and you are in your mid-40s, and some of y'all are in your mid-50s. Y'all actually think, and that's young in the modern era, you actually think it's funny and entertaining for Fox News and other outlets to show how cruel you are, how incendiary you are to the American people. Oh yeah, let's just stick it to the libs. Okay, but think about the sustainability and all the wrongdoing that you're inflicting on the people. And you think that you're going to get away with this? I mean, in life, you always pay the piper, homie. Our history, or the world history, has shown this time and time and time again. You will not get away with what you're doing. The international community are watching us. Our kids are learning from us as the world look on in disgust. My message is this. Enjoy it now, Stephen Miller, because just as history has shown, a reckoning is coming and America is waking up. Okay? And when they do, look out, partner. Last time I checked, you're definitely not Donald Trump's age. And always remember, truth has no party. Be well.
I'm sure most people have seen this guy before. Stephen Miller, the White House Chief of Staff. Now they're looking at him for being the new National Security Advisor, which would be a horrible pick. He's a horrible person, but that's not what this video is about. The most shocking thing to me about this guy here, Stephen Miller, is when I found out today he's 39 years old. Now you know why he's so angry and racist. Look at that dome piece for a 39-year-old. He got the George Jefferson at 39. He probably had it for a long time now. If you look at a lot of these hardline racist white guys, if you look into their past, they always have something. Like their daddy didn't hug them enough or pay him attention. They're facially challenged and got a head like the dude from... He got a dome like Gazoo from the Jetsons. But the thing is, with Gazoo, he had a helmet on. He ain't even got a helmet on. You see why these guys are so angry, man. And no matter what policy they try and push through or how racist their rhetoric gets, this can't be fixed. They're insecure with a lot of parts of themselves. So when I found out he was 39 years old, it all made sense. Shit, if I looked like that, I'd be mad too. I might be racist too. I might blame everybody too, except for the people that brought me in the world and got me at 39 years old looking like this. Oh man, that's the most shocking thing about this guy to me. Now, I thought his policies were bad, but the fact that he's 39, Lord have mercy.
Why did the Democrats tweet a picture of the cuck chair at Stephen Miller? What does it have to do with Elon Musk? And why does it remind me of L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of Scientology? Strap in. Because, as with anything having to do with Lafayette, the messiest bitch on the planet, this is a lot. I have notes. So, Stephen and Katie Miller are married in 2020. In December 2024, Katie Miller is one of Trump's first picks to go work in Doge's advisory board. Stephen works with the administration, so Katie's kind of a go-between between the admin and Elon Musk at Doge. And during this time, the Millers as a couple are kind of tasked with showing Elon around DC. They're a very integral part of his inner circle. The rumor is also during the time that Elon is working at Doge, the three of them are in a throuple together. Now, another rumor is that Stephen was bragging at the White House that he was running Elon Musk like an asset and that he was using his wife as his handler. Now, on Wednesday, May 28th, Elon announces that he is leaving Doge. Katie is also leaving Doge. She is going to go work for Elon in the private sector. And now the rumor is that it's not just Doge that Katie is leaving, but also her husband. What this reminds me of is Lafayette Ronald Hubbard and Jack Parsons, who's pretty famous as like a rocket scientist. Jack Parsons marries Helen Northrup in 1935. In 1939, Helen and Jack go to a Thelema service. Thelema, or OTO, it's a religion invented by Aleister Crowley. It's basically about doing magic and sex rituals. Jack loves it so much that he keeps trying to like recruit his fellow rocket scientists to be in on it, and they're all like, "You're weird, dude. Enough." Now in 1941, Helen goes on an extended vacation, and while she is gone, Jack starts sleeping with Betty, her sister, who lives with them. And when Helen comes back, he's just like, "I find her more provocative than you." 1942, Jack becomes the leader of Thelema's Pasadena Lodge. He is living in a big giant mansion, and he's living in it commune style with a bunch of other occultists, and Helen starts up an affair with one of them. Now, at some point, Aleister Crowley kicks Helen and the guy she's having an affair with out of Thelema because they're vampires or something? Who knows? What matters is that in 1945, LRH moves into this big mansion commune. Jack immediately adores him, and they start doing magic together. And LRH also starts doing Betty. Jack pretends like he doesn't care and that this doesn't bother him at all, even though it clearly does. Now, January to March in 1946, Jack and LRH start working together on the Babylon Working, which is essentially a bunch of very complex rituals to summon Babylon, the Scarlet Woman, who is a goddess in Thelema because Aleister Crowley said so that she can be Jack's girlfriend. A woman named Marjorie, who has red hair, showed up at the mansion commune, and Jack declares that the rituals were a success. Later in 1946, LRH and Betty convinced Jack that they should all go into business together, which is obviously an incredible idea. Their business idea is that they're going to go to the East Coast, buy yachts there, sail them to California, and then sell them for apparently enormous amounts of money. Jack says, "Okay, great," and contributes his life savings of $20,000. LRH contributes about $1,000. So naturally, LRH and Betty run off with the money to Miami. At some point, Aleister Crowley hears about this whole situation, sends a telegram to someone saying Jack is obviously caught up in some kind of a confidence scheme and is like, "Ring, ring, motherfucker. Hey, you're being scammed." And so Jack flies to Miami. He tries to report them to the law, doesn't seem to do much. So instead he goes in his hotel room and performs a magic ritual to summon a storm to go after their boat. Their boat does run into a pretty bad storm, and they have to come back to shore. After that, Jack got some of his money back, but definitely not all of it. And him and LRH were pretty much enemies from that point on. Anyway, Jack went on to do some rocket science stuff. He worked with the FBI for a little bit, but then he got caught stealing documents, maybe to sell to foreign countries. So he pretty much lost every job he could possibly have, dived fully into occultism and started calling himself the Antichrist. And obviously LRH went on to do Scientology, become fabulously wealthy, and live on the water to avoid government oversight. Messy bitches.
And here's how you know that Stephen Miller is in charge of the United States government right now. Yep. Stephen, that little man that never got along with anybody in life, had a terrible time from kindergarten through college. And still having a hard time, apparently, keeping track of his bride. Because, Elon is now maybe having a little part of that. She left with Elon to go work with Elon. Left the White House with Elon to go work with Elon. Which I think we really need to be talking about a little bit more. We need to be talking about the Stephen Miller problem. Because I just heard that Taco chickened out once again. We immediately heard that, whoa, we need to wait. We need to watch and maybe not raid these strawberry fields. Right? First of all, Pedro's probably going to outrun any of these Peters that we've been seeing out in the hallways waiting for people. These guys that just got out of the recliner, those guys that are making a big fat 32 large, they're making, apparently, somebody looked up everything, and most of the agents are making like $32,000 a year. Some are making as little as $12 an hour or $16 an hour. It's almost like ICE is taking advantage of the people that have a convicted felon, that they are a felon, whether or not they've been erased or commuted or whatever. They still can't find a job in the USA. So it's almost like ICE is taking advantage of these people and going, hey, I know where you can get a job. We released your asses from jail so that, knowing that you couldn't get a job in the USA, so we're going to hire you up in here. And when Donnie John stands on the airplane and says, yeah, we can't be taking down the hospitality industry and the hotel industry and the grocery industry. No, we can't do that. Well, first of all, it was probably basically all about his hotels. Because how's he going to staff his hotels? How is anybody going to bring pillows to his guests? I mean, he's going to have a lot fewer guests because most people aren't coming to these United States. And Stephen Miller and the unproud Chicos. Are they Chicos? I think we really need to talk. What's another name for proud? Because we can't use that. The overinflated self-esteem of the Chicanos. Let's put it that way. We got some overinflated self-esteem boys that are out there wearing their they were wearing their black and yellow so proudly on the No King's Day. And we saw Trump change to black and yellow too, so that he could send a little signal to all of his boys. When he did his Madison Square Garden thing, he changed into black and yellow. He started wearing black and yellow when he was losing big time. And we know that never changed. But I am just shocked. I say shocked. I am shocker on Shock Street that I wake up from my total nausea. I don't know what I've got celiac and I must have eaten something bad that I did. I was telling my friend Julie, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to throw up all day today. It feels like morning sickness, but God forbid, thank God it's not morning sickness. Oh my God, you young girls. I have to hand it to you. I don't know how you're doing it in the world like this. We did not have our children when the world was like this. Honestly, okay, I digress. I've got 17 stories going on. I realize I haven't taken my focus. Focus! This is what my brain is like before there's a little chemical that comes around and goes, focus. I went all the way through life to the age of 36 like this. And when I get my daughter diagnosed, I'm like, oh, this explains so much. But I digress. I'm watching a little bit of CNN, reluctantly, only because I'm not going to watch Fox. I don't think I have MSNBC downloaded on this Google TV. But anyway, they're talking about the U.S. is reversing course on limiting immigration raids. Previous guidance pertaining to farms, hotels, and restaurants will now not be paid any fucking attention to. Because if they don't go to farms, hotels, and restaurants, now you got to know, farms, hotels, and restaurants, that's our fucking food. That's where we lay our head. When we have to go to, like, for the parents that are going to out-of-state soccer, we played tournament soccer. So we went fucking everywhere playing soccer. I can't even imagine what it's like trying to check into a hotel room with no staff. Well, in fact, I have a story about that. I was up in Nebraska and had to stay at, and I'm going to say it right here, at the Residence Inn, Lincoln, Nebraska, the most disgustingly dirty hotel I have ever been in my life. And I'm talking even the side of the road hotels that, like, you know, the little old man that owns the place cleans his own potty. Okay. I'm talking, the one weird thing when I got to Lincoln, Nebraska was I wasn't hearing any immigrant voices in the hallway. They were all women that looked like me. And after I fell in the bathtub at the Lincoln Hotel, and I figured if it was a Fairfield Inn, so I figured it was a Marriott brand, at least it would be clean, right? Oh, fuck no, it wasn't clean. And you know what I told the lady when I was leaving? Is that, you know, she was really missing immigrants at her hotel. Maybe if she had immigrants at the hotel, she wouldn't have such a hard time keeping this hotel running. I mean, it was just gross. It was absolutely gross. But I digress. So Taco stands on his big plane yesterday. I mean, I can just imagine him as he begged for that Qatar plane. They didn't offer him that plane. He begged for it. He dragged it back here in the seat in the dead of night because he wants to go sit in that airplane after he gets out of the retirement home or the big house and pretend like he's a big man. Because people that need, like, I was married to a couple dudes who were, one of which was very, very, very particular about his car and where he was seen and what his car looked like, etc. And Trump is the same exact way. They want to be seen as having cool things. They want to be seen as having things that are better than other people have. No one's impressed. Mostly just them, basically. But it looks like Stephen Miller, the actual president of the United States, put the whole kibosh on, he's wanting 3,000 immigrants a day. Now, why did he come up with that number, I wonder? Do they feel that the Rockland, New York case is really crawling up their grill? And if they don't get these numbers, then all the overinflated self-esteem men, you know, the proud ones, those guys are going to be fucking pissed, aren't they? And all the people that are pushing for an all-white United States of America, because this has fuck all to do with any sort of crimes or legality. You guys quit being able to say the word illegal the minute you put that fucking piece of shit on the ticket. That piece of shit is the most illegal person we've ever had running for anything. We've never even had anybody running for dog catcher that has that many felonies, convicted felonies. For those of you that actually think that somehow those got wiped away. No, they didn't. They're still sitting there waiting for him to finish his presidency so they can throw him in the shit can. Just so you know. And yeah, Taco chickened out again. Taco Trump. No, he couldn't pull back from all those raids because he's not running shit. Stephen Miller's running the thing. Trump is barely getting on and off the airplanes. Barely. And then he shows up to the G7 and starts talking about Putin. We're so ashamed.